issues you've been certainly dealing with in the last 90 days as well, beginning with the stadium, the Browns Stadium. It appears as though the Haslams are very close to getting the money they need to build this stadium in Brook Park. Mr. Mayor, how likely is it that the Cleveland Browns are staying in downtown Cleveland?
Well, I'm not a betting man, and I'm not going to make any bets on what the legislature or the governor will do or decide if they will decide to fund the Browns to go to Brook Park. But let me just say this. First of all, I want to shout out our county executive, Chris Ronayne, for his support and leadership on this critical issue. We've gotten a lot of flack over the last several years, really for a decade in Cleveland and across Cuyahoga County, for not having a unified voice and not being aligned about what our priorities are in Columbus and in DC. But on this issue, the city of Cleveland and the county have been aligned. And unfortunately, we didn't have that alignment with the business community in our city. But we're going to keep fighting to keep the Browns playing good or bad football on our lakefront. And if they do get the money, we're going to find a way to be resilient and keep Cleveland growing. Because hell or high water, we are going to develop a world-class lakefront that our residents can be proud of once and for all.
Let me ask you this way. Are you more optimistic or less optimistic than you were 6 months ago that the Browns are staying?
50-50.
50-50.
50-50.
That's a good answer.
Yes.
You mentioned the business community not getting in line with this, and you talked about this, I believe it was in January. You criticized the Greater Cleveland Partnership specifically for, as you said, not being in line with everything the city and the county wanted to do. Do you still feel that way?
Listen, one of my heroes in public service was the former mayor and governor of Ohio and former mayor of Cleveland, George Voinovich. And I remember when I decided to run for mayor, his nephew, Paul, gave me his book on the role of public-private partnerships in Cleveland's comeback in the 1990s, and how then Mayor Voinovich was able to really convene all the key sectors to create a new renaissance in Cleveland. And one of his key partners in that work was Dick Polk. And Cleveland had such a great model for civic alignment to focus on core priorities that at the time, the Washington Post did an article and it said, "What America can learn from Cleveland." Because everybody was on the same damn page. And when I reflect on the challenge that the county executive and I have had on fighting to keep the Browns downtown, this is not just about football. We are seeing people like Dan Gilbert spend $4 billion to invest in our city. Shovels in the ground right now. Companies like Canon are choosing Cleveland. They're bringing their new healthcare corporation to the city of Cleveland. People are choosing Cleveland. And so now is not the time to turn our back on investing in the urban core. Now, if we were growing like Dallas or Nashville, different conversation. But we have finite resources, limited capacity, and I'm very concerned, as is the county executive, that this will create a massive, massive impact to our economic outlook as a city and as a region. That's why it's been a bit frustrating for myself and the county executive not to have real alignment with our business leadership on this critical issue.
Any theory why that hasn't been the case?
No idea.
No idea. As we all know, you're a lifelong Clevelander, born and raised here. Your mom is out here. A personal question. What would it mean for you personally if the Browns were to leave downtown Cleveland? As someone who's lived here his entire life.
It would be a big blow. I remember going to one of the last games with my late father and my brother, Donovan. They were playing the Jacksonville Jaguars. My dad left the firehouse. We went to Chuck Steiner in Cleveland Heights, then drove downtown And it was a sad time because obviously they were going to Baltimore, and Baltimore is very different, obviously, than Brook Park.
Right.
But there is a civic and spiritual attachment that residents have, taking that long pilgrimage on East 9th, or going to the Muni lot and probably getting too drunk before the game. And so many Clevelanders, not just older residents and older fans, but younger residents and younger fans love being downtown. They love being in the urban core.
Yeah. What does it mean to you, though? What does it mean to you personally? Again, you grew up here. The Browns have been part of downtown Cleveland your entire life.
It'll be very sad.
Yeah.
Very sad.
I'm going to ask you a political question now.
Sure.
Several polls have shown that most residents, I believe it's like 54 or 55%, do not want the Browns to leave downtown Cleveland. I hear you're up for re-election this year. Politically, what do you think it would mean to you, it could mean to you, if the Browns were to leave downtown?
I think the residents have been very clear, and the residents have been very supportive of our position to fight to keep the Browns downtown. But we have bigger issues we're focused on outside of the Cleveland Browns.
Right.
We're focused on making sure we have good folks to invest in our city, getting rid of predatory landlords. We're focused on making sure we install more speed tables on our streets to keep our streets safe and secure. We're focused on getting more illegal guns off our streets. The residents I talk to don't really care that much about the Cleveland Browns. They care about their jobs. They care about good schools. They're concerned about Medicaid and Medicare. All they want is a damn Super Bowl in Cleveland. That is it. That is it.
All right.